Brandon, thank you. New at 5:30 tonight, a local college student suspended for a year after the school determined he sexually assaulted a classmate may get to return to campus, the same campus where the co-ed involved still lives and studies. The man applied for readmission to Skidmore, and next week a hearing will be held to determine whether he's ready to come back. Jennifer Lukey sat down with the young woman today, and I know, Jen, Skidmore is a small campus. I understand that she is somewhat apprehensive, probably more than somewhat, about his return.
Yeah, she's very nervous about it. She's been advocating to stop it since this incident happened last year. There's a hearing. She plans to be in it next Friday, but she's also organizing a silent protest an hour before it. Hundreds of her fellow students will line the hallway into and out of the hearing room wearing T-shirts that read, "Suspension is not enough. Don't graduate rapists."
Rena Kiefer had just finished the last final exam of her freshman year at Skidmore when she decided to go out in Saratoga with a few friends. It wasn't long until they ran into a guy they recognized from campus.
Just sat down next to him, started talking, didn't feel threatened in any way. Honestly, just seemed like a normal person.
But she doesn't remember much after that. She believes she was drugged.
I actually woke up in his room the next morning and sort of looked around thinking, like, why am I here? Why would I be here? I have no reason to be in this room.
The man said the sex was consensual.
His words were, "I knew she wanted me."
At the time, Rena did not file a police report.
I wouldn't say that I was discouraged, but I was informed that going to the police would be traumatizing and difficult, and I'll support you if you do it, but it will be really hard.
So she left it up to the school to investigate. In the end, the college found the man responsible for sexual touching and sexual penetration by incapacitation.
I was appalled when I got that notification. He was suspended for a year, for an academic year, allowed a readmittance hearing in March, April of 2015. He was allowed to take classes for credit while he was suspended.
And now the year is up, so he wants to come back.
To say, yeah, he raped you, oh, but he can come back in a year. It's a slap on the wrist.
A spokeswoman for Skidmore refused a request for an on-camera interview, claiming the college can't talk about specific incidents. Its policy, though, calls for, quote, a hearing to determine whether the responding student has demonstrated readiness to be admitted to the college community and has complied with all sanctions issued in connection with the case. Readmission to the college requires accommodations that will safeguard the rights of both parties and allow each to have access to an environment that is conducive to learning and open the full range of available opportunities. Rena will be at the hearing, and despite its outcome, she says she's come way too far over the last year to walk away from Skidmore or the situation.
I just feel bad for him because as I heal and as my voice gets louder and stronger and as more people support me, his life becomes more hellacious.
Now, Rena did file a police report in October. That was about 6 months after the incident. Saratoga Springs police tell us they are currently investigating, but Liz, they have not yet made any arrests in this case.
And this comes at a time when we've been hearing a lot, both on the federal and state level, about perhaps new legislation that would work on these kinds of cases with sexual violence on campus. Would that come into play here?
Well, the governor's talked about a new plan, Enough is Enough, it's called, and it encourages victims to report assaults to police agencies off campus, which Rena did, but she didn't do until 6 months later. In hindsight, she wishes she had done that sooner because they may have been able to come up with something in the investigation that the school didn't. But the other parts of the legislation are more about reporting, and a lot of colleges are making great gains in that right now.
And we know here in this case that Skidmore refused our request for an interview, but the college has said recently that it updated its sexual misconduct policy. So they're certainly trying, I think, to be sensitive to this then.
Yeah, exactly. And those new policies went into effect. This is the first full school year that they've been in effect. And the changes are the school got a new online anonymous reporting form. So if you're not comfortable leaving your name, you can do it that way. They've trained their hearing board better. They have new advisors that work with sexual assault victims to try to give them more resources. But that's all in reporting. The question comes in, what happens from there? They say they follow federal regulations. We will see what happens next Friday at this hearing, and
we
where
will
it goes
know.
from here.
We will know.
We may or we may not. This will be a decision they'll talk about, and Reno will share that with us. Unfortunately, Skidmore will not share any specific information about either student with us, obviously for privacy issues, but we're hoping to have more.
That's a very compelling story. Thank you very much.